You know that feeling when you finally decide to skip the cheap one-size-fits-all vacuum that everyone swears works for everything, only to end up dragging a noisy, underpowered canister around the house and watching the dirt just bounce around? I've been there, and I've also watched a lot of people regret that purchase when the battery dies after a few minutes, or when the filtration system can't actually keep the allergens at bay. That's why I wanted to see if a battery-powered canister with HEPA filtration could actually be a smarter buy for a home that needs both portability and a little extra suction power. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The NaceCare NBV 240NXH is marketed as a commercial-grade canister, but it's still a cordless unit you could easily store in a closet and pull out for a quick cleanup. Right off the bat, the biggest question most buyers have is whether the freedom of going wireless actually translates to consistent performance on real floors. In my testing, I set the vacuum on a hardwood kitchen, a high-traffic carpeted hallway, and finally on a set of upholstery in the living room, making sure to note how the machine behaved when it switched from one surface to the next. On hardwood, the dual-motor system felt surprisingly steady. The vacuum kept the suction level constant even as I moved from smooth tile to a slightly sticky linoleum. That's an advantage you'll notice if you have a mixed-floor home and want one machine to handle the transition without constantly adjusting settings. The battery life proved decent. After a full charge, I could run roughly 25 minutes before the indicator flickered, which is enough time for a quick sweep of a moderate-size apartment. For larger homes, you'll want to keep an eye on the charge time, about 2 hours for a full top-up, so you may need a backup charger or plan your cleaning schedule around it. The HEPA filtration system is the real selling point for anyone who deals with pets, dust allergies, or a home office with a lot of airborne particles. Unlike basic filters that simply trap larger debris, the HEPA filter on this unit is rated to capture particles as small as 0.3 microns. During my tryout, I placed a handful of fine dust on the carpet, then vacuumed with the unit running. The exhaust air felt noticeably cooler and cleaner, and after a few passes the air around the cleaning area seemed less hazy. If you're looking for a vacuum that actually improves indoor air quality while you're cleaning, this feature adds tangible value beyond just picking up dirt. There are still practical trade-offs to consider. The first is weight. Even though the unit is marketed as compact, the canister itself sits at about 5.5 pounds, and with the accessory kit attached you're looking at a little more heft. It's certainly not as light as a handheld stick vacuum, but it's manageable for most people if you don't have to lug it up and down multiple flights of stairs. The second trade-off is noise. NaceCare advertises a quiet operation, and it does hold its own compared to older corded models. There's a soft hum, not a high-pitched scream, but the motor does still produce a noticeable whir, especially when you hit the carpet boost. In a typical apartment, that level of sound is fine. In a shared office or bedroom where you need near silence, you might find it a little intrusive. What about the accessories? The complete kit includes a motorized brush head, a crevice tool, an upholstery nozzle, and a dusting brush. In practice, the motorized brush works well on thick carpet, pulling out embedded debris that a standard brush often misses. The crevice tool reaches under the kitchen sink and between couch cushions without bending your back. The only gripe I have is with the dusting brush. Its bristles are a bit stiffer than I expected, which can make delicate decor feel scratched if you're not careful. If you frequently clean delicate surfaces, you might need to swap it out for a softer option. Who should buy the NaceCare NBV 240NXH? If you have a moderate-sized home, need the flexibility to clean stairs, cars, or tight spaces without dealing with cords, and you care about allergen control, this vacuum checks most of those boxes. It's also a good fit for small business owners who need to maintain a clean storefront or workshop without being tethered to an outlet. On the flip side, if you're looking for a powerhouse that can tackle large, heavily soiled messes in a commercial setting, think construction debris or thick, wet spills, this unit's battery limits may leave you wanting more. Likewise, renters who prefer ultralight devices for quick touch-ups might find the weight a bit unnecessary. Another practical strength that shows up after a few weeks of use is the charging dock's design. The dock holds the canister upright and also acts as a small storage slot for the accessories, which means you're not hunting for the brush head when you need it. The fast charging claim lives up to expectations. A half-hour charge gives you roughly 10 minutes of runtime, which can